Gerald got a standing ovation. 12 people in that chat spontaneously, without being asked, sending hearts and clapping emojis, all directed at one character. And that character was Gerald. And Gerald is me. And somehow, this is the problem. I'm Harry. This is LoudAndBlox, and I need to address what Millie said in her video yesterday, because several things were described in a way that lacked important context, and most of them were about Gerald. Millie said Gerald removed the East Wing and called it a renovation. She also said Gerald is me like that's meant to be damaging information. Gerald is me. I built Gerald. I gave him a name and a history and a complicated relationship with the market, and I am extremely proud of him. And Gerald deserves to be properly represented. So let's talk about what actually happened. So, Millie has a Roblox roleplay server. I knew about it in a general way, but had never been involved because I was never invited, which was fine. I was busy. Then I found out they were running a session on Thursday, and it sounded genuinely interesting. Characters, storylines, a running narrative. I respect that kind of commitment. I asked if I could watch. Millie said no. I asked if I could participate in a small capacity. They discussed it with the group. They said yes. They assigned me townsperson number 3. I need to talk about townsperson number 3 for a moment. No name, no backstory, no character description beyond background 1 line. The line was, the market opens at dawn. 7 words. I was given 7 words and a number and told to stand in the background and provide atmosphere. I am not an atmosphere person. I am a contributor. There is a significant difference. But I accepted the role because I was grateful to be included and I respected the process. And then I spent 2 days developing Gerald. Gerald is a former merchant who had a falling out with the market's current leadership several years prior, a contractual dispute involving a shipment of goods that was misattributed and never properly resolved. He left the town. He built a different life. He came back recently, older, quieter, carrying the weight of that unresolved business. Not entirely sure why he returned, but unable to stay away. He has opinions about the market. He has opinions about the people who run it. He has a presence in this town that nobody has acknowledged yet because nobody knew he existed until Thursday. I built all of this in 2 days for a 7-word role. Because if you're gonna do something, you do it completely or you don't do it at all. The session started on Thursday evening. Scene 1, I stayed in the background exactly as agreed. I said nothing extra, I stood where I was positioned, and I observed and I assessed the world that was happening around Gerald, where he fit, what he meant to the space, and what he might mean to the story if given the opportunity. And then it was scene 2. The market opens at dawn. I delivered the line, clearly and with weight, because Gerald has a complicated relationship with this market, and that history is in every word he says, even when he's only saying 7 of them. And then, and this is the key detail Millie left out, one of the other characters looked directly at Gerald, made eye contact, held it. In collaborative roleplay, when another character makes eye contact with yours, you respond. That is not a rule I invented. That is how collaborative storytelling works. I responded as Gerald. Gerald said 2 additional things. Both of them were in character, both of them were grounded in Gerald's established history, and both of them were good. Millie messaged me privately and said that was my line. I said Gerald had more to say, because the other character had opened a door and Gerald walked through it. This is called reading the room. This is called being a responsive scene partner. These are skills. And then scene 3 happened, and I want to be precise about what I did and why. Millie's character was entering the climax of a planned arc. I could see the structure of it. 6 weeks of setup, a confrontation with her rival, a moment where her character was supposed to face something alone. I watched the scene begin to unfold, and I identified a problem. The scene was building toward a resolution that I could see coming from early in the sequence, and when an audience can see the ending before it arrives, the ending loses impact. Gerald's presence, his history with his town, his unresolved relationship with the people involved, created a natural opportunity to complicate the moment, to add a variable that nobody expected, to make the scene genuinely surprising instead of inevitable. I took that opportunity. Gerald stepped in. Gerald intervened, not to take Millie's scene, to make it better, to add a layer that the story didn't have before Gerald arrived. That is what good supporting characters do. They create new possibilities for the main characters to respond to. That is Gerald's function. That is what Gerald was built for. The chat responded immediately. 12 people reacting in real time. Hearts, clapping emojis. I didn't see that coming. Gerald is incredible. New favorite character. That does not happen accidentally. That happens because the character was well constructed and the moment was well executed. I am not embarrassed about this. I am pleased about this. Gerald worked. And then I found the build tools. I want to explain this clearly because Millie's description left out the reasoning entirely. Between scene 3 and scene 4, I was waiting. My role in scene 4 was limited, and I used the time to look at the server's construction because I was curious about how it was built. The build tools were accessible through the settings. I found them and I started looking at the map layout, and I noticed something. The east wing of the main building had a north wall that was creating a visual obstruction. People seated in the audience area on the left side of the server could not see into the performance space properly. The sightlines were blocked. This is a real problem in live performance environments. I know this. I've read about it. It applies to physical and digital spaces equally. The east wing's north wall was making it harder for part of the audience to see the scenes they had attended specifically to watch. I removed the north wall. And then the rest of the east wing came with it, which was slightly more than I intended, but the sightlines were dramatically improved and the space felt more open and dynamic and better for everyone in it. I made a production decision in real time in the interest of the audience experience, and I would make the same decision again. Scene 4 opened with better visibility for everyone. The performance space was cleaner, Gerald had more room to work. These are improvements. The session continued, it ended slightly earlier than originally planned, which happens at live events, and it ended with the audience energized and the chat full of positive engagement and Gerald at a natural pause point in his arc. After the session, I told Millie it went really well, because it did go really well. 12 people attended and stayed the whole time. The audience engagement was high throughout. Gerald received unsolicited acclamation from multiple people. The sightlines were better. These are the facts. Millie said the East Wing is gone. I explained the sightlines. She went upstairs. I understand that Millie planned this session for 6 weeks. I saw the preparation, the detail, the character work she'd put in. I respect all of it, genuinely. But great stories don't always go the way they were planned. Great stories respond to unexpected developments, find new directions, grow into something bigger than what was originally on the page. Gerald was an unexpected development. Gerald made the story bigger. 12 people gave Gerald a standing ovation, and those 12 people are the audience. And the audience told us clearly that something genuine happened in that server on Thursday evening. I checked the server this morning. The East Wing is back. It looks exactly as it did before I improved it. The sightlines are worse again. I could see this immediately when I opened the map. I have not mentioned this to Millie because she needs time and I understand that and I am being patient about it. Gerald will be ready when the invitation to next week's session arrives. I have continued developing his backstory in the meantime. The contractual dispute has additional layers that I think could become a significant plot point if given the space. Gerald has a lot more to say. Subscribe so you don't miss Millie's response. It will be calm, it will be detailed. The East Wing will be mentioned multiple times. Just remember, the audience gave Gerald a standing ovation, and the audience is always right. I'm Harry. Gerald deserved better than townsperson number 3, but Gerald made the most of what he was given, and I think that says something.